Hey, what's going on, welders? Natalia Cortez with Let It Shine Welding. Hey, man, today I'm gonna be showing you guys how I prep up a 8-inch and 6-inch coupon pipe for open root 6010, 7018 filling cap. I'm gonna just show you guys on this video the prep, and then future videos I'll show you guys 2G, 5G, 6G position, 6010 root, 7018 filling cap. All right, so quite a few ways to prep up your coupon. But I'm gonna show you guys how I prep them up. The easiest way that I found that has helped me get a good fit up to better weld. So a lot of the times I see people trying to clean their coupons, their pipe, on top of the table, kind of like this, or doing this number. I don't like doing that, man, because it's real unstable. You get the pipe starts moving around on you. You get an uneven grind pretty much. So I like to tack them right here on the edge of the table, my work table, so that my coupon, my pipe is facing me, facing directly at me. I can see everything that I need to see. I can see all around the bevel, the knife edge, my landing, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna tack them up real quick, show you guys how I clean them up. All right. So now giving you guys a bird's eye view of what I'm looking at. Got my helper, Julius, right here. He's gonna help me out how to prep this coupon, this pipe. The only thing that I'm missing is a file, and I'll explain what the file can be used for here in a minute. But I'm gonna show you guys right here. This is how I like to place my coupon. Like I said earlier, I want it facing me, so that way I can see my bevel and I can see my landing. Anytime that I'm start to put my landing on, I can see the width of my landing getting wider and wider, whether I'm looking for a 3/32 or a 1/8 land. But with the grinding disc, I'm just gonna simply clean up the bevel right here. Here we go. Watch. That's right, bud. All right, once I got my bevel cleaned up, you guys can see the knife edge. Now I'm going to start from the top at the 12 o'clock with my grinding disc as flat as possible. I don't want it to come at an angle like this, or left and right, too much angle. I want it to be as flat as possible with the pipe, the coupon. Start at that 12 o'clock and then just come down, not too fast, not too slow. Control pace, control speed. The weight of the grinder is enough pressure for you guys to put on. You don't have to put too much pressure, light pressure. Like I said, the pressure of the grinder itself, it's enough. So here we go, starting from the top. Watch your eyes, bud. And it's a little bit slow so you guys can see. The knife edge going away. And the landing is starting to get a little bit wider and wider, as you guys can see. Right here, this is my 12 o'clock. I'm gonna go to 11, come all the way down, past the 6 o'clock, go to about 7 o'clock, come off. And then when I come the opposite way, go past the 12 o'clock to my 1 o'clock, come this way, past the 6 o'clock, go to the 5 o'clock and come off. All right. The tool that I am missing is my file. And if I take my gloves off and I come up on the coupon like this, all that excess metal that I'm grinding flat is coming to the inside of the coupon. So if I take my 1/8 electrode 6010 and I measure this, it's going to give me almost a 1/8 land. But if I have my file, which I'm going to use my chipping hammer right here, just knock off that access. And now you guys can see that it's less than 1/8. And to use that file to get that access metal that's hanging inside of the pipe off, so you can get a more accurate reading. And typically I measure in 4 spots: 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 and 9. Once I measure those, that landing, and it's pretty close to what I'm looking at or looking for, that's all I need. Once I have my bevel cleaned up, my landing on here with my file, because I am welding 6010 root, I'm not gonna, I don't really need to clean off too much of the inside of the coupons. It's just this light rust, light mill scale. That should be fine with the 6010. If I was TIG welding or doing a different process, definitely need to get in here with a cone grinder, pencil grinder, knock off all of that rust, all of that mill scale, so I can have bright, shiny, clean metal, just like I have here on the outside bevel and the landing. All right, so now that I got my pipe prepped up, break it off my table. A few ways you can check to make sure that you got a flat surface. You can put the bevel side down on your work table and get a flashlight, stick it in here, and if you see any light coming from the outside edges out here all the way around, the flashlight in here, you come down here, look around your coupon as you go around it, you shouldn't see any light. So that's one way. The way that I do it, I put my coupons flat down like this, and then put bevel to bevel, line them up on the inside. No specific lineup, just want to make sure that they're flat up and down, and then come down here, and now make sure this is even. And now I'm looking for any gaps within my coupon, within my pipe, and all I can do is simply turn the coupon on the top, keep spinning that around until I get a flat surface all the way around. That seems pretty good right here. I got a little spot right here that's open, but that's workable. So once I find that my landing, my prep, my grinding is pretty even all the way around, I can get, if I don't have a marker, chalk, grab your electrode, put a mark here, a mark there, and then that way you can take off your coupon, put your spacer in here, line up these lines, and get them tacked up. Another way you can mark it up is once you ensure that your land and your prep is pretty even, like I said, come right here, make a mark, and that way you can lift up your coupon, put your spacer inside, bring your coupons back down, line them up with the lines you made, and now you're in the same spot, ensuring or giving you a warm and fuzzy feeling that you've got a good fit up all the way around. Alrighty, so now once I got my pipe lined up, I got a 1/8 spacer right here. Now one thing that I do for my spacers, once I have my spacer in here, put my top coupon back on, line up the insides, take off my glove, feel on the inside here, make sure that they're pretty even, move it around as I need to, adjust it as I need to. If I have any doubts, keep moving it around, man, until you're satisfied. Come over here, line up my lines, my markings, and it's honestly a never-ending task. You have to go back and forth, double check your alignment on the inside, come back out here, check your lines. That's good to go. Now, when it comes to tacking, you never want to tack in between your spacer right here. I always like to tack on the left or the right side of my spacer, because whenever I tack here, my coupon is going to open up on me on the opposite side. So if I tack here, it's going to pinch my spacer in place and not allowing me to take it out easily and giving me issues. So whenever I go to make my first tack, or any tack really, I want to strike up right in the center of my coupons. Now, wherever my arc picks, bottom coupon, top pipe, I want to focus on that. So once I strike up, if I see my arc going to my bottom coupon, cool. I'm going to drive my rod in here. Once I start driving it in a little bit closer, it's going to connect to that top coupon, connecting both of them together. And now I'm going to drive that tip of the rod into that gap and just do a little stitch movement. When I say stitch movement, when I go this way to the right, it's almost like I'm trying to make a path. As I'm making that path, the keyhole, the puddle should be following me. That's what I'm looking for. So I don't want to drive that rod into that gap. I don't want to put it inside. I want to be welding on my landing. So I don't want to be welding on the bevel. I'm going to be welding into the landing. When I tell people to drive that rod into that pipe or into that gap, I don't mean push the rod through the gap, okay, to where the rod is sticking out into the inside of the coupon. You don't want to do that. But you're going to be welding on the landing, just like this right here. If you find your electrode outside of that gap, you're going to be welding on the bevel at this point. You see the difference? So if I'm welding on the landing, I'm going to have that tip of that rod right inside of that gap. Now I'm welding on the landing. Now if I pull it back a little bit, on the land, off of the land, on the land, off of the land. If I'm welding here, it looks like I'm getting penetration and welding, but I'm not getting no penetration onto that back root. So that's the biggest difference that you guys want to pay attention to. Okay, you want to be driving that tip of the rod inside of that gap like this. You don't want to be welding outside of that gap like that. And I'll show you guys the difference once I put on the hood. One of the biggest issues that I see from people trying to tack up a coupon is that very first tack, or any tack really, man. Once you get in here, strike up, you want to give that electrode long arc, a little bit long arc, let that tip burn, then bring it inside of that, closer to that gap, establish your puddle, and start your weld. All right. A lot of people get stuck because they go to strike up, and as soon as that electrode starts to strike up, they drive it into that gap, and the electrode is not fully inflamed, so you're going to get stuck every time. All right, so again, strike up, long arc, let that tip fully inflame, slowly bring it in closer to the coupon, establish your puddle, and start your technique. All right, so now I'm going to put pressure on top of my coupon, my pipe here, so that way once I strike up, if I happen to get stuck somewhat, I don't move my top coupon or bottom coupon around, messing up my fit up. Okay, so again, right here, I'm going to strike up, long arc, and drive that rod in, start my tack. Here we go. side. On this first tack, I had it at 80 amps because earlier when I was tacking at 75 amps, it wasn't giving me the amperage that I needed. But now at 80 amps, that's way too much heat for that gap and land. So I'm going to turn it back down to 75. And that's a very important thing. Whenever we're putting on our tacks, we want to also be gauging our amperage. Because if we're having trouble with our tacks, whether our amperage is too low or too high, by the time we get to our root, we don't want to have no issues with our amperage. We might have to make some minor adjustments, but we shouldn't have to stop and turn down or turn up our amperage at that point. All right, so I turned it down to 75 amps. Now I'm going to restrike up. I got a big enough keyhole so I don't have to feather this. I'm going to start on the tack itself, come off of it, long arc, go right into that gap, and start my stitch method. Long arc, put that tip fully clean, bring it in, get right in that gap. All right, so I turned the coupon around. I can see the tack on the other side. So now I'm going to come directly to the opposite side. And right here, I wanted to show you guys how much the pipe shifted, the gap itself shifted. If you look at it, the left side of that pipe is tighter versus the right side is a little bit wider. But we're not worried about the left or the right side right now. Right now, we're worried about the side that's on the opposite side of the first tack. So now we're going to bring this gap down to 3/32 by using a hammer or hitting it down on the ground like that. All right, so even with that first tack, you guys can see that we can squeeze that gap however tight we need to. So again, we can use a hammer and hammer it down on the top to get it to the gap that we need it. or we could simply grab it where our tack is at, come back to the other side where we need to bring it down a little bit, hit it down, and you guys can see that that itself might have done the trick. So it doesn't take too much, but we'll double check it. So our tack is on this opposite side right here. We come to this side right here, take our spacer, and you guys can see that it's still a loose 1/8, and we're looking for a 3/32. So we're gonna tighten it up a little bit more, but you can also see that this left side is even tighter, and this right side is still a loose 1/8. So we gotta split the difference. So right here, this is where my next tack is gonna go. Right here is tight, a little loose. All right, so I feel comfortable tacking it at this point because remember, I still have to even out my gap. So I want to leave it a little bit loose on this side because it's a little bit tight on this side. So I don't need this to be perfectly my 1/8 or 3/32. It can be off a little bit. Once I make this tack, now I can focus on my right side, left and right side, which should even out my whole coupon. All right, so now that I've made my second tack here, like I mentioned earlier, I have a wider gap on this side, tighter gap on this side, and I can grab my mussel, hammer down that side, starting to get pretty even. That's one way you can keep going at it like that, or grab the tighter side and on the wider side, hit it on the ground a few times, maybe. Once you get it pretty close, put it back down, double check it to try to confirm it, and you're just trying to get as close as possible. That looks pretty close to me. Let me know what you guys think. So there's the left and right side gap. This is the first tack we made. The tack on the other side is the second tack. And you can see that the gap is pretty even all the way around. So we're gonna go ahead and make our third strike up on the gap itself, right in the middle. We don't want to favor the top or the bottom. Strike up right in the center. Long arc it, let that tip fully inflame. Once it's fully inflamed, then we want to bring it in as close as possible, if not inside of that gap, without pushing the rod through the gap. And after this, I'm gonna use the stitch method. Whenever I go to the right, it's almost like I'm making a path for my keyhole. As I'm making that path, I should see my keyhole. So this is my gap right here. This is my keyhole. Whenever I make that path, I should feel that metal opening up. At the same time, on the back end of my pipe, the inside of my pipe, all that molten metal is going towards my keyhole this way. So when I'm going this way, the metal is going the opposite way, and I should see my keyhole follow me like that. And that's what we're looking for. If we see that, then that means that we got a good amperage. If we strike up and we see that keyhole, or we're doing that stitch method, and that keyhole keeps getting wider or stays the same, and it's not moving at all, then that means that my heat is too hot. I need to turn down my amperage. The opposite, same thing. If I strike up, go to my keyhole, and I'm making a path, or trying to make a path, but that keyhole staying the same width, it's not opening up, it's not closing up, it's not following me, then my amperage is too cold. Okay, so again, once I have that keyhole and I'm making a path with my electrode, I should feel that metal burn, making a wider path. At the same time, I should see my keyhole follow that electrode. That's what I'm looking for. Up, long arc. Right into that gap. That, like that keyhole follow my rod. What we're gonna do now is I'm gonna show you guys how to feather the tacks or the welds, stops, starts, restarts. Feathering is very important. Now here I got 3 different grinding discs. And a grinding disc here, this is a 1/4-inch disc, a 1/8-inch disc, and a cutting disc. All right, so you always want to be careful on what type of grinding disc you use, because if you use a 1/4-inch disc, you're going to grind too much into your bevel, into your gap, causing you issues. If you use a cutting disc, which is what you would want to use if your gap tightens up on you, you want to put this cutting disc in here to open up that gap a little bit more that you need to feather them. I typically use the cutting disc, rarely, but I do use it. If anything, I do use the 1/8 cutting disc or grinding disc, I'm sorry. And I just simply get on that weld on both sides and feather them out. Let me show you guys how I do that. All right, so what I like to do is I like to open it up a little bit with the grinder On the middle of the tack or the weld, I don't want to dig too much in there because I need that metal for support. All I'm trying to do is feather off both ends of that tack. By feathering, it just means making um, a ramp so that if I strike up on the meaty part of that weld, once I get to that thinner part, instead of blowing through into that keyhole, I blow through that thinner part right here, which is paper thin. How do I know it's paper thin? By the color. Watch, right now it's gray. Now I'm not gonna dig no more to the left and to the right. I'm gonna dig right into the tack itself, the weld itself, and it's gonna go from that clean gray look to a blue or purplish rainbow color. See how it's starting to come out right there? It's already starting to turn blue, purplish. Give it a little bit more. Right there. Same thing on this side. On this side here, I have my keyhole already, so I don't want to dig too much into that. But the way that this looks right here, that blue purplish color, that's what I'm looking for. That lets me know that that's paper thin. So now when I strike up on top of my tack here, I have plenty of metal here to carry my puddle. And then once I get to this paper thin side here, I should blow through here. So that way on the inside of my coupon, my pipe, that back root, that back weld gets a good tie-in, versus me not doing the feather, striking up, going to that keyhole. Now on the inside of my root, I'm gonna have something that we call a fisheye. It's gonna be a weak spot where it didn't have a proper overlap, a proper tie-in to that root on the inside of the pipe. So that's why it's very important to put that feather on here. All right, welders. Well, this is the prepped up coupon that we worked on. I still have to do the 8-inch coupon prep, but for the 6-inch, this is it right here. You guys could see the fit up prep. I went ahead and feathered all 4 tacks. If y'all remember, this is where I started at 85 amps, which was way too hot. And then just went from this tack to the opposite side right here. This one I turned it down to from 85, I believe, to 75. Or I'm sorry, 77, which was still a little too hot. Went to this third tack, brought it down to 77, still a little too hot. And then finally got it down to 75 amps. And that's where I liked the what my keyhole was doing. So that's what we're gonna stick with for the root for the for this 2G position pipe, which the video will come out soon. So stand by, let it shine, baby. So hopefully you guys got something out of this video, man. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Look me up on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Ask any questions. So my goal here, man, is to give you guys, make more videos, educational, instructional videos to help those welders that are out there coming up in the industry. So please add your comments, questions. Let me know what video you guys want to see next. This video, I was asked by a few people, hey man, can you make a pipe, how to prep up a pipe coupon for a 2G, 6G, 5G position. It's all the same prep pretty much, depending on the land and the gap. But regardless, man, whatever videos you guys want to see next, again, please go on the YouTube channel or even on our social media pages for Let It Shine Welding and ask your questions. And I'll do my best to get the videos and knowledge out there for y'all, man. So appreciate y'all. Let it shine, baby.